I'd like to invite members of the media to go ahead and do my job for a day. You do talk radio. I don't television, please. Television, you sit in a big empty box by yourself, surrounded by people who are producers who may agree or disagree with you, but that's pretty much it. Talk radio, you have to face the music. Talk radio, you're one-on-one. I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. You call me, you write me, and I have to face the music. And I have to do it for 3 hours a day, and I have to defend myself for 3 hours a day. I have to talk off the top of my head. I'm not reading a teleprompter. I'm telling you what I think. This is the hardest job in all of media, bar none. Quite honestly, if I wanted to make my life a lot easier, I would quit radio because this is the hardest job. And I believe this is the hardest job, not just that I do, but on all of media. It's very difficult. And the reason why it's difficult is because you cannot lie for 3 hours a day. You are who you are. And people see it. People see it. But you can lie in sound bites. But do people care about the truth? Or are we just spoon-fed things? For instance, do I just spoon-feed you your opinions? If I do, please don't ever call yourself a fan of mine. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to see what I see and then say, well, I agree with that or I disagree with that or I don't know if that's even true. That can't be true. And you go and you research it yourself. When I miss honestly. Now, I want you to listen to this whole monologue because I want you to understand what I'm saying about Dick Morris. Dick Morris, as you probably know, he predicted pretty much the same thing that I predicted, but he was wrong. I was wrong, but I was wrong, and I believed it. Last night, I read a story on Politico that when Morris was asked about this, he told the truth about why he predicted a Romney landslide, and I read it yesterday afternoon on the way home, and it was disturbing. Stu and I were on the phone immediately. Look at this. And I gave him a long list of things that I said, we have to talk to the American people about this. Morris said, according to Politico, that he only predicted a landslide because he wanted to help Romney. Listen to the audio.
It's a period of time when the Romney campaign was falling apart. People were not optimistic. Nobody thought there was a chance of victory. And I felt that it was my duty at that point to go out and say what I said.
Got it? That's shocking. He thought it was his duty to go out and say what he said because people didn't believe that Romney could win. I'm reading the story from Politico, and I cannot believe it. He just wanted to help Romney? It's one thing to be wrong. It's another thing to knowingly lie to your audience. It's another thing. That is the opposite of the Blaze. The truth has no agenda. I thought it was my duty to say these things. Stay with me to the end of this monologue. Now, this is not the first time that I've seen major media figures admit that they will not tell the truth to their own audiences. I was told by a very well-known and respected financial expert that he would not talk to me about financial collapse because, quote, it would make it more likely. Even though he believed much of the stuff that I said was going to happen, he said we had a responsibility to never have that conversation on the air. I said, well, what happens if it does? You're telling people that it's okay, that everything's going to be all right. They won't be prepared. Yes, but if we have that conversation, because we have credibility, then it's more likely that it will happen. Well, what are you talking about? Are you preparing? Are you battening down the hatches? Are you being more cautious? Well, of course. Oh, but you want to go on the air and tell everybody, don't worry. We've seen this before. I had another executive tell me that despite the fact that we all knew that what I was saying was true, quote, we have a responsibility to not tell the American people the truth. A responsibility to not tell the truth? Man, I'm sorry. I seem to recall I was told by somebody else that I have a responsibility to not lie. How was that worded to me? I think it was, quote, thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not lie. I don't care how big of an executive you are. I can guarantee the guy who wrote those 10 safety tips has a bigger title than you do. Another big media mogul said to me, Glenn, please, let's stop playing this game. We both love the Constitution, but we both know that sometimes you have to do what you have to do. End quote. No. What you have to do at all times is tell the truth. Trust your audience. Trust the American people to have some intelligence. Stop treating them like imbeciles, because you're creating imbeciles. And loving the Constitution means always working to strengthen and honor the Constitution. Look, we all honor our marriage certificate, but sometimes guys do what they have to do. It strengthens the marriage. No, it doesn't. So when I'm thinking about all these things, when I'm first reading the Politico, the latest example from Dick Morris, I read that quote and I thought to myself, we're all wrong sometimes, and I can handle him being wrong. But what he's telling me here is that he knowingly lied to make me feel better and to help Romney. Thank God this guy's not an oncologist. We'd all be dead of cancer. We cannot tolerate this anymore. We must be able to trust the news. Which brings me to my last point, where I really stand on Dick Morris. Again, do you have the short clip from the Politico? Here's the clip from Politico that we played a minute ago.
It's a period of time when the Romney campaign was falling apart. People were not optimistic. Nobody thought there was a chance of victory. And I felt that it was my duty at that point to go out and say what I said.
Stop. That's what the Politico ran. But listen to what the Politico didn't run immediately before and immediately after. When we started to do our homework, we didn't take it from the Politico, just like you shouldn't take it just from me. You should go back and look, because apparently you can't trust anybody. Listen to what Dick Morris actually said.
But, Sean, I hope people aren't mad at me about it. I made an honest mistake.
Stop.
I spoke about what
I made an honest mistake. I spoke about what?
I believed, and
what he believed. I spoke about what I believed next.
And I think that there was a period of time when the Romney campaign was falling apart. People were not optimistic. Nobody thought there was a chance of victory. And I felt that it was my duty at that point to go out and say what I said. And at the time that I said it, I believe I was right.
And at the time I said it, I believed I was right. There is no scandal here. Dick Morris is not lying to you. Dick Morris does not need, nor probably does he want me defending him. But what Politico did is absolutely inexcusable. You didn't have to take homework. You didn't have to stitch 3 speeches together. He said it before, and he said it immediately after. You had to intentionally go in and try to literally razor blade everything else out. You had to go in and tightly edit to be able to make him sound like he was saying something he wasn't saying. Yesterday, I called my business partner, Chris Balfe, who works for me, and he's my Roy Disney. He's the guy who is building the company. Walt had the ideas, but it was Roy that knew how to build the company. And I called him up, and I said, how you doing? He's up in New York. And he said, Glenn, I'm pushing the biggest damn rock up a hill I've ever tried to pull. Push. I said, we'll make it. And he said, I know. What you've given me a task to do is you've said, take a 5-year plan and collapse it to a 1-year plan. I don't know how to do that, Glenn. I know we could make it in 5 years, and we're going to get to the end of this next year, and we're going to say, damn it, we did it again. He said, but right now it's a heavy rock. I know. The reason why I've asked him to push that rock up, the reason why I've been asking you for your help and your tolerance, and quite honestly, the tolerance of talk radio stations, is I believe this country is in real trouble. And we're in trouble because the truth is not being reported. It's important. What you do every day is important. Your word is important. What you look into yourself is important. You know, there's a lot of program directors and a lot of people in the media and all over that think, oh, well, you know what? It's entertainment. We're here for ratings. We're here for money. The hell we are. The hell we are. If there isn't a reason for us to live at this time right now, if you don't understand what's happening to freedom right now, if you don't know what's happening in our country, oh, well, it's always been this way. I'm sorry, it hasn't been. I'm sorry, it hasn't been. But we believe in it. And there are too many people in this industry that don't believe in it. They don't care. They're lazy. They're jaded. I don't know what it is. I'll just tell you this. The Blaze wouldn't have half the success it's had so far if the media didn't hand deliver so many opportunities to show how easy it is to win when the truth is told. It's not that hard. The media is destroying itself. And they're destroying our country and our children's future at the same time. You cannot exist as a free people if you cannot reason for yourself. You cannot exist as a free people if you don't know how to critically think. You cannot exist as a free people if you have a corrupt press. You cannot. It doesn't work. The media is destroying itself on all fronts. It's on fire. But that's why this is called the Blaze. It's a purifying fire. Stand in the flames of the truth. It will purify. And what is real will stand. What is not will burn itself out. We're happy to pick up the smoldering pieces and dust them off after they've been purified and put them all back together.